Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Surprise Thursday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse 1989 Batman and Batmobile. Let's get into it! Let's start things off with a look at the packaging. And it's pretty long because the vehicle itself is 22 inches long, just like it says right here on the box. But here we have, and I'm sorry it's all glary, but that's just the way it is. The box art is kind of glossy. So, with McFarlane Gold Label Collection, this is an Amazon exclusive currently. Got that 89 Batman symbol on there, DC Multiverse, Batman and Batmobile. Then we have a nice product shot of Batman and the Batmobile. And then further down the box, 22 inches or 60 centimeters long. And then pretty much on the top, it's all the same. The only thing that's really different is on the bottom. And that's all small print, fine print, legalese print, made in China print, and all that good stuff. Barcode on the other end down here. And symbols I'm not going to learn. On the side here, you got that nice 89 Batman symbol. Batman and Batmobile, Batman. And then McFarlane Toys, squishy spawn face. And I am bumping up everything. And then here is a different product shot on the back side of it. Again, 22 inches or 60 centimeters long. The Batman logo, McFarlane Toys, squishy spawn face. And then nice product shot of the vehicle. And then special feature. Fits most 7-inch figures. Except there's only one problem with fitting most 7-inch figures. Is the fact that only Batman can get in the Batmobile. Unless, you know, Robin or Batgirl. Some of the Bat family. How about that? But that, my friends, does it for a look at this packaging. Let's, well, at least try to take a look at the figure and the vehicle and accessories. Because I'm sitting very far back from the review area in order to fit the whole vehicle in frame. And we may have to change that up some during the review just to kind of take a look at everything and make sure I can reach it and that kind of stuff. So let's start with the accessories. We don't need any handy dandy tweezers because the only accessory it comes with is the stand for the figure. Your basic McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse and Spawn Mortal Kombat 11 figure stand peg here. This one has the DC emblem on it. And it's a stand. You can stand your figure on it. That's about it. Now, let's take a look at the figure. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to zoom it in a little bit. Actually, I say zoom it in. I'm just actually moving the camera is what I'm doing. So, there is that. There's no zooming going on. It's just moving the camera so we can take a better look at the figure. And I will have to say, that is not a bad likeness of Keaton, at least, you know, from the nose down. It does, this really takes me to that 89 Batman, and even the eyes. So, very nice likeness. They're doing much better on these Batman, the movie Batman figures. I've seen the Clooney, it looks pretty much like Clooney, and the Christian Bale, it looks pretty much like Christian Bale. And those are the ones I've seen up close. I didn't get the Clooney one, but as you can see, it's very nice, clean paint apps, and the sculpt is very nice, and they did a good job with the paints not to muck that up. Now, one thing I will I don't guess I'll complain about it, but I'll mention it, is that, Keaton could not do that in his bat suit. Most of the bat suits couldn't do that. It was all, this was all one piece. And that's just the way it was if you were a Batman. At least up until Christian Bale took the role. In The Dark Knight, they found a way, to make it where it was more like a helmet and then a separate neck piece. But anyway, I digress. We're talking about 89 Batman here. So, nice paint apps here. It's probably molded in this gold plastic and then the black painted on top of it, but it could be reversed. But I do believe it's gold plastic there. And then this, I believe, is probably a paint app, because it makes more sense to paint this than his whole trunks section. And I have to say, this suit, it looks pretty good. There wasn't a whole lot of details going on in the Keaton suit. Just like the legs were pretty plain until you get down to his, the armor he has here on his boots. And then this armor right here, and then the arms are pretty plain except for the gloves. And then the torso, of course, was the most detailed part of the costume, where they had molded all the musculature into it, just like they've done here. And even around to the back some. Oh, look, it's his bat butt. And so I think this is a very nice looking, and it's not perfect, but it's a McFarlane. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to have some, the legs and the arms might be a little long on it, but for the most part, I'm happy with this Keaton Batman. Again, I do think, while the likeness isn't perfect, it's pretty darn good. But then again, they're only having to do the eyes and the nose down, or under the nose, not really the nose, because you can't really see. You can kind of see the nose in there, but I digress. Let's take a look at his articulation. Again, the Keaton Batman suit couldn't do this, but he looks up that far. He can look down that far. He's got chicken neck. He's got waggle, again, which none of the Keaton suit could do. He can do the full Exorcist. Now, at the shoulder, it does have a bit of butterfly there, and it can go back that far, and it can go forward that far. It does rotate 360 degrees there at the shoulder, as well as coming out to about 90 degrees. It's cut here at the upper bicep, gives you another 360 degrees of rotation. Double hinged pinned elbow, and it gives you that much bend, so it's a pretty good bend, and I think it works well with this figure. And then at the wrist, it will go 360 degrees, and it's on that McFarlane peg type system that they also, SH Figure Arts also uses. So it can go up and down. You can also fix it where it'll go side to side, but both of them are set to up and down. So that's good. There's a chest. There is a chest right here. There's a cut here where the chest and abdomen meet, and it gives him some hula. And it also works in conjunction with like a ball joint here at the waist. So with those two working in conjunction, he gets all kinds of hula going on. He can lean side to side really good. He can lean back that far. He can crunch forward that far. So that's pretty good. But most McFarlanes will do that. Now at this uppercut, the cut at where the chest and abdomen meet, he'll do a full 360 degrees of rotation there, and he'll also do a full 360 degree rotation at the waist. At the hips, he give you that much of the splits. He can kick forward that far. He kicks back maybe about a step and a half, No cut in the thigh, which is a shame. Double hinged pinned knee. And it gives you that much bend, so that's not bad. And then nothing, no boot cut at the ankle. Foot tilts down that far, tilts up that far, and this gets in the way a little bit, but I don't think it's really impeding the articulation there. And then it does have a pin for rocker as well. So very, very good. And I'm again, for the most part, I'm pleased with this version of Keaton Batman. Now I'm sure like the Mezco or even the NECA might, you know, do a little better than this one, but who knows? Well, somebody knows. I don't know though. And as far as the cape goes, I didn't mention it earlier. It is kind of thin, but it is soft goods. McFarlane's finally getting into some soft goods, and they're not the greatest yet, but you know, give it some time. He's just starting, so maybe he's working his way up to something more complicated. Now, I really would have loved some wire or something in this so that you could spread it out like the old promo pics with the cape spread out like wings. That's really cool, in my opinion. Your mileage, of course, may vary. Now, speaking of mileage, let's take a look at the Batmobile, and I'll try to do this the best that I can without bumping into stuff. Now, this is the Amazon version, of course, so it's more 89 than Flash movie, although I don't think there's a whole lot of difference in it. And so this is the second release of this Batmobile. And you would think that they would fix this, you know, the two different colors on here, but also, you know, it's really, really visible under these lights. But when you put it on a shelf and, you know, it's toward the back of the shelves, a bit of shadow over, it's not nearly as noticeable. If you're photographing it in, you know, dark conditions, which, you know, if you're taking Batman photos, then, you know, that's the thing to do. But anyway, they did not fix that issue. So it is still a thing that you will either have to fix yourself, or Ramen Toys has a kit that has a canopy that will match, or supposedly it's supposed to match, and it also has the machine guns that fit on top of here. So, and it's not bad. It's not priced badly either. It's only $20, but I don't know what the shipping runs on that. Now, as far as, let's take a look down the side here, and you notice it does have the Batman Bat hubcap. So that's a thing ever since the Barris Batmobile, and I think it's cool. And there's details on the tires, treads, the rims, and it all, you know, it takes me back to that 89 Batmobile. There's some sculpted detail here on the side. There's some greebling here in silver paint. Intake, I'm assuming this is intake as well. And then, you know, same thing about the tire back here. The treads are molded and nice paint apps here. And I don't know, I think it's molded in silver and then the black is a paint app, but I could be mistaken. That actually could be a separate piece posted on top of that, it looks like. Could be, might not be. I don't know. And then here we have the wing fins, which are indicative of most Batmobiles. Not all, but most. The coolest ones, at least. And you do have to insert these once you take it out of the packaging. Now let's spin it around and take a look. There I go, bumping stuff. I knew I was going to. Let's see if I can fix it. There we go. So, on the back side of it, you got a little, looks like maybe paint apps. No, it looks like it's a separate piece for the brake and tail lights. We've got some silver for the tailpipes. We've got some, I don't know, I guess the jet kind of matches the rest of the car, the jet exhaust. And then here's some vents back here. And I go bumping stuff again. I knew I was going to. And then down the side of the car, you know, it's pretty much the same as the other side. And then we'll take a look at the front end. And there's the turbine intake. And then these pieces feel like they're separate pieces glued in for the lights. And then there's a little bit of detail, molded detail on either side here. And so the mold on this is really, really cool. And as far as the top view goes, we got some molded details here. We got some molded details here. And then everything else I think we talked about. And then there's a little bit of a vent right here as well. Now, one cool thing about this is you can't just pull this open or flip it up or anything like that. There is a button, and it's right here. And once you mash this button, you'll notice that the canopy does pop up right here. So it releases right here, and there's a little tab right here where it releases. And once you do that, you lift it up just slightly, and then you can slide it forward and have access to the cockpit. You can also lift it up like so, if that gives you better access to the cockpit. And it does kind of lock in place. It doesn't lock into place, but it kind of sits there like it's supposed to do it. Now, as far as the interior, there's a lot of molded detail going in there, a lot of little dials and buttons and gizmos and steering wheel and stuff down along the sides of the seat as well. And it all looks really, really good. And my only real complaint about this, and I know a lot of people complain about the canopy color, but that's, you know, if you paint, it's not that hard to fix it. My biggest complaint about this is maybe they could have made it just a bit wider and made it a two-seater like it's supposed to be. But even then, are you going to be taking, I mean, who's going to be taking pictures of the interior much? Not really much anybody. And any real increase in size would have been, I think there would have been a lot more cost associated with this vehicle. And at, you know, it's not super cheap at like $75 on Amazon, but you got to remember like 20 to 25 bucks of that is the figure. And I'm going to say 20 bucks because, you know, he only comes with the stand and no accessory, no build-a-figure or anything like that. So McFarlane's usual standard figure is about 20 bucks, maybe 22 at this point. So, you know, so about 50 bucks, 50, 55 bucks for the vehicle. You know, that I don't think that's bad for what you're getting here. And I mean, this thing is huge. It's like 22 inches long and it really hits. But to me, it feels a little more 1/12 scale than, I guess 7-inch scale is 1/10, maybe. That sounds right. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But this, you know, 50 bucks for a vehicle this size, when other companies would want you to do it as a crowdfund project and it'd be a lot more expensive. I really think that I think it's a good value for the price, even if it's not 100% accurate to the source material. But again, you know, if you're taking pictures, how many times are you going to be taking pictures of inside the cockpit? And who knows, somebody out there might design a way for you to pull the existing cockpit out and fix it with where it is a two-seater and for, you know, more for 1/12 figures than 1/10. And that would be cool. So if you're, you know how to do that, do it. Well, that, my friends, is a look at the figure and the vehicle and the stand. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And I can't fit other vehicles on the turntable with this, so we're just going to do it old school where I set it up there, and I apologize about that, but it's too big. So anyway, first things we've got are some other 7-inch scale vehicles. And here we have the Bat Cycle from the Batman. Unfortunately, there's also not enough room to give you front end and side comparisons as well. So I'm not going to be able to do that. Here is my other 7-inch scale vehicle that I can show off with this, which is Mattel's WWE Reckon Slam and Stack Forklift. So I think that all scales up pretty well. Then we have the Marvel Legends series, Legendary Riders, Ghost Rider. So that's how he scales up. I'm sorry, I keep bumping stuff. Here's our final vehicle comparison, and this is the Mattel Batman 66 Barris Batmobile, not the McFarlane Batman 66 Barris Batmobile. So this one is a bit bigger than the McFarlane Toys 66 Batmobile, and it is a very, very nice vehicle as well. For our final set of comparisons, here we have all our usual suspects from the Marvel Legends series making his cameo appearance, because I can't have a video where Stan doesn't make a cameo appearance. It's Stan the Man Lee. From G.I. Joe Classified series, we have the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander. From Star Wars, the Black series. Uh-oh, he's missing a piece of his stand. From Star Wars the Black series, we have the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper. And for a 7-inch scale comparison, here we have Mattel's Masters of the Universe, Masterverse 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on the Amazon exclusive McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse 1989 Batman movie Batmobile and Batman, I have to say 99% I am super satisfied with this. That 1% of unsatisfaction is just a few minor things, really. Number one being that it's not a 2-seater. But you know, we talked about that earlier in the review, that, you know, increased costs and shelf space and all that good stuff. Issue number 2 is the, you know, the color of the canopy not quite matching the rest of the vehicle. The soft goods cape not being able to fold out like the, you know, promo pictures or scenes from the movie, where it's like he's got wings instead of a cape. And the final thing, which is probably the biggest gripe, and I don't know if it's the biggest gripe for me, I don't know if anybody else has mentioned this fact, but the fact that the Batman here has no grip hands. So you can't even put his hands on the steering wheel of this Batmobile. And that, to me, is probably the biggest issue. But again, you know, how many times are you going to be taking pictures of Batman inside the Batmobile? this particular version of the Batmobile at any rate. Well, that, my friends, does it for the review. I hope that you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you'd like to see more reviews or just help the channel out further, or both, that's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.